Well, folks, we finished all our machine work last episode. Now it's time for assembly. If you don't like watching engines get put together, this video won't be for you. So the new cam bearings are in, the engine's home, that new distributor drive bushing's in. Basically, we're at that point where we want to start putting things back together on the engine. So let's start at the beginning. And the beginning for me is I always toss the camshaft in first. Because if it don't fit good, it's going back to the machine shop. And by back to the machine shop, I mean it's going to the machine shop for the first time. So, here we go. This is our camshaft. It sits right there until we find our lubrication. Now, this is a used cam, so we shouldn't have to worry about any cam break-in lube. We are going to lube up all of these, and we'll try and get a dab on all the actual bearings themselves. Just, you know, be doubly sure. You'd like to watch this part. It's one of the good parts. You see? Okay, here we go. Smear it around. Put a little on everything. Cover it, why don't you? Just get it on everything. That's fine. You wanted it all over your hands and everything. Now, if anyone's wondering, this is as big of a cam as you get to go before you have to start worrying about adjustable valve train. Because they didn't have to make the small section of the camshaft smaller than factory. So it doesn't, your push rods don't get too short or long or whatever. It's as big as you can go and still be really cheap. Well, we got a problem because it doesn't even want to go into the first bearing. How come you're being awful? Hang on, try again. Really isn't interested in going in for some reason. There was just something there. Everything's fine now. Can I turn it? No, I can't. You're supposed to be able to turn it by hand, that's for sure. That's not a good start. There we go. It's fine. Everything's okay, alright? It just had a little bit of a rough spot. The rough spot's gone now. Goes round and round real easy. See, one thing. Oh, that's too far. Everything's fine, okay? It's just fine. Well, with the camshaft in, the only next logical place to go is crankshaft, I guess. Bearings are in the same places they were before. We got a rear main in, plop it in there, and it happens, I guess. This will take the long way around. Don't mess, Heathen. Don't mess. Don't miss. Yeah. Oh, that one nice. Better than the first time, I'd say. We're gonna go back to front so that I don't forget to put some silicone on the rear main. Those two-piece job, kind of a jerk that way. There's not much to be done for it. You know, it's just that's how they are. How come I did the practice run, everything went fine, now everything's going bad? There we go. Now we're in business. Maybe I better just consult my telephone here. I know I took a picture. I'm glad I took a picture, because they go that way. You're supposed to dunk all these in oil, aren't you? I did already. That's what we're gonna say. You can't prove that I didn't. It would have been nice if on these studs they put some sort of, I don't know, an Allen key or something so you could drive them in by hand easier. I'm not really interested in the double nut technology. Alright, drill. Buzzer down. Remember, folks, drill, not impact. Drill. Does it spin? Okay, so far so good. Torque it down. Torque it down. The stand is moving about. Yeah, we're going around it twice, okay? If you know you're incompetent at something, it's best to do it twice to make sure that you did it once. You double your odds of doing it properly if you do it twice. Or something. I just don't want to miss any, alright? Hasn't served me wrong yet. Okay, does it turn still? Oh yeah. Look at that. Isn't that great? Whee! Next thing we gotta do, which I completely forgot about till now, is we gotta size all these rings. So we're just gonna sort of start dropping them in gently. These are sort of, you put them in whatever way you want. There's no dots, no nothing, no chamfer, whatever. So in they go. And you don't break any. And then I've got a piston. I pulled 2 rings, and that'll just drop it over to the oil ring. And now it's square in there. That one's square. That one's square. Well, I don't think this one's going to be too tight. Now we find our feeler gauges. I'll bring in. And you see that gap right there? We got to measure that gap and see what it is. Alright, this is a 25 thou. So we stick it in here, and alright, it's more than 25. Say 25 and a half, 25. Pretty minty. Now, that's a symptom of, hey, you're working on a wore-out engine. But also, I'm quite happy with that because it means I don't have to spend a bunch of time cutting on rings. So we'll take it as we go. Now, had we got any sort of number in the teens, that would have meant we were filing rings. But since we're in the 20s, it'll be fine. Now, is this particularly going to be interesting television for you? I don't know. But it's what I'm doing, so it's what you get to see on this particular channel today. Off with the old rings. You go. Get out. Get out of there. Why are you being a pain in the neck? Usually the one that's a problem. Get out of there. You have a good little look through here, and you make sure there isn't a bunch of junk in the old ring lands. And if there is, you take a ring and you break it and you clean it out. But there isn't much in these ones at all. Just a little bit on this one. A little rinse-a-roo. Wipe down. Look at, we got a stack of those. Do these have an upsy-downsy? Yeah, these have an upsy-downsy. Okay, second ring ones have upsy-downsies. First rings, for some reason, do not. Also, they're square cut. Oh, whatever. You put this thing over. Now, there's a way that it fits. One way is up, and one way is down. And I need to look at the instructions to tell me what it is. It says it doesn't matter. Put it in. I decided they should go down. This guy in. Yeah. Take one of these. Do these have a top or bottom? No. Pop him over. Onto the lower section. All the way around. You have to go back there. You have to go around it. Okay? There we go. Now we do that one more time. Put it on the top. They still don't have a mark. And then, you know, now we grab the second ring. Now the second ring has a top spot. So we line up the top. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. You can fight with it the same way I just did those ones. Or you can buy an $11 tool. And then it's like, you know, it's a daisy. This was worth 11 bucks, okay? It's $7 American. Oh, easy. Should have bought the $12 tool. Okay, and then that looks like that, right? And you're supposed to line these rings up in a specific spot when you go to put it in, but like I don't care because they go around and around in circles, and you can argue about that all you want, but the rings are supposed to turn when they're in the bores, so why does it matter? I do line it up anyways, whatever the way that current book says to do it, but I think it's nonsense. Now, while we got the rod here, let's check these bearings out. Clean this up a bit. Give her a wipe down. Get it nice and dry. Have a quick inspection again. And we got some rod bearings. Well, let's put some rod bearings in, eh? Okay, well that's it, folks. I'm gonna carry on doing this. I have 8 more of them to go, and I don't imagine anybody. No, I don't have 8 more to go. I have 7 more of these to go, and I don't think it's that interesting. So I'll see you in a second. There it is. Got bunch of bearings and a bunch of rings, and now they're there, all together like. Fun fact. I said I was going to get them resized, and I never did because the new bearings fit tight, so we'll probably be all right. Now we've got pistons ready to go in. Put the liney side to the front. That's the front. It's pretty early. Now also of note, I just pre-lubricate this because it's easier than sticking your fingers in there later. Get your ring compressor. Why do I keep losing things? Maybe it's because I never put anything back. It wasn't even in a dumb place. Right around it. Push her right to the ground. Snug it up. Right? Like, it looks good. It's got somewhere to fall into. Man, this is a tough morning. Piston in. Next. Now, if it ain't going down and you're hitting it, stop hitting it. Something's wrong. It should go down a little bit with every hit. And if it does, you don't wreck any rings. No, that's interesting. Did I drop this piston or something? What happened here? The skirt's bent. That's really weird. I don't remember bending a skirt. I guess it doesn't take much. Now somebody's gonna say that skirt's gonna break off. You're probably right. It can't be that stiff. You gotta fit in there loosey-goosey. The skirt is not supposed to be the tight spot, you know? There we go. It'll be fine. Maybe. Or it won't. It's one nice thing about your own engine. You don't really have to answer to anybody. Like I kind of do, because I'm putting it on the internet. But whatever. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you doing? Someday I'm gonna buy one of those nice kind that you just whack through the hole. But until that day, this thing seems to continue working. So it's really nice when the crank spins by hand. Not only because it means your engine's probably less likely to blow up, but also because it's easy to assemble. Now, another fun fact. I am smoking a brisket upstairs today. I'll tell you something. The aroma in here is just delightful. Da-da, da-da-da-da. That's 4 in. Now, before we it gets crowded down here in a hurry, okay? So, usually I do 4 and I hook them up to the crank. Other people might have different opinions about that, and that's fine, but this is what I do. So, love it, hate it, I don't care, actually. Alright, now in this case, because I've tagged everything, it's really easy. I line the letter I put here to the letter I put there. Slip it on, a couple nuts on, and then we find a torque spec that I don't remember. That torque spec, for those who are interested, according to the Summit website, is 45 foot-pound. You do have to have the right size socket on. Snug, bring the other one snug, torquage. Not a bad idea to do a couple steps on that, you know? Like maybe do 15 and then 45. It's gonna shoot a little oil down every hole, and hopefully that'll do something. Now the next question, does the engine still turn? Yes. Engine still turns. Now we put on another cap. Where did I lose my torque wrench? Like I literally just used it. Like that was the last thing I did was... What is wrong with me? Just roll this so it's facing straight down now. There's a dead moth lying in my engine already. Now, let's roll the engine around a couple times and see if everything seems still happy. And then if there is a problem, we'll know which 4 cylinders it might be on. Nothing weird yet. Feels nice, feels smooth. Alright, now I put the other 4 pistons in. It's the same as we did it on the other side. You guys probably don't need to watch it again. Look at that. That's all 8 pistons in. Well, like in the block. They're not hooked up, obviously. If your engine looked like that when you pulled the heads off, something's wrong. Hey, the bottom end is together. And it turns over reasonably well. Like definitely what I would call in the realm of acceptable. So I think we're pretty happy. Like it's not a lot of effort turning over anyways. Now we're on to the next thing, I guess. Whatever that might be. Alright, right now it's timing chain parts, so... I don't know if you guys saw the last one, but we got a brand new one now. We went for the double roller option for extra $6. I don't know what that's worth to us, but... You point the dots towards each other's. That's right. camshaft spun this way, and the engine spun way up here. Now, when this piston hits the top, that'll be a good indication that we're there. Right there somewhere. Not quite, but close. The camshaft looks dead on, but it doesn't start. Oh, tooth out. Okay. My eyes are not getting better with age, and it is getting harder to see dots than it used to be before. Yeah, that's 2 dots lined up now. Now, if you're doing this like the way I'm doing it, it's best not to hit the chain if you can avoid it. Now, is it tighter than the old one? Is this tighter than it was before? Maybe. A little lube on it. That'll. This right here, that's a fuel pump eccentric. We want that on there. We want a camshaft bolt. We'll snug that up. Roll the engine back over. Seems like it's as good a time as any to put the windage tray on, so do that. Now, when I was, however old I was, 18, 19, putting this engine together the very first time, I bought this windage tray. And the guy who sold it to me, he said, "Do you know how to put that in?" I said, "Well, no." He said, "Okay, this is what you do. You set your height." And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "And then you bolt it down tight." He said, "You make sure you Loctite though." I said, "Yes, sir." Now to set the height, well, I don't really know. I know this. You want it as close as you can be, but you don't want it to touch anything. Put these lower nuts on. I'm just going to start at the bottom and we'll see where we're at. You want it level too, I think. You don't really want it to flex and bend on you when you tighten it up. I think I see a problem. Now folks, there's an awkward moment here, because my camera died, and then I went on vacation. When you last saw this engine, I was putting the bottom end together, and we got it all together, and it was spinning nice, and that was great. And then I went on holidays for a couple weeks. Now I came back, and, well, we got ourselves a track day rental in the meantime. Now, I've never been on a track day rental, so I can't really tell you what it is, other than I know you get to make lots of passes, and there's not as many rules as normal. I'm really excited about going and having the opportunity, but, you know, like, it's not going to be very fast the way it's sitting. So it needs put back together in a hurry. Now, if you're wondering why we're not taking the Jeep, it's because, well, I want to go racing this now. The Jeep's great. I'm not interested right now. This is where it's at. Our big plan of attack here is get the heads on, get the intake on, get the engine together and assembled, get it in the truck, go through the rest of the truck, make sure it's got fluids in it and like has brakes and stuff. We'll have to pull the wheels and we need to get some tires on it and like we got a heap of work to do. And that track day rental is no word of a lie 7 days from now. So basically I gotta get to work on this thing right away, which is always how you should assemble engines, is in a hurry. Don't take your time, as quick as possible. Sure, I'm glad I got the bottom end together already. That would have been disappointing to have to do now. Now, we've already got a little bit of a head start on this thing. We've just been, you know, cleaning up our cylinder heads, getting them ready to go. They're clean enough for us, I guess. They'll be fine. Of note, these cylinder heads, they're pretty sentimental to me. They're actually, my dad ported them years ago for a Dodge Ram Charger that he wanted to make fast. Because that's, I picked that trade up from somewhere, as everything should be a race car. So, you know, the family hauler at that point in time was a Ram Charger. So it got ported cylinder heads with 202 valves and, you know, good springs, etc., etc. Realistically, I should probably put some valve guide seals in it, but, you know, the time just is not going to allow for that. So we're going to toss them back in. Now they're cleaned up, they're ready to go. I think on they go. It's as simple as that. For those interested in the porting, well, you can't really see very much, so they look kind of like that. We also went ahead and got all our lifters into their right home so I don't get them lost. We'll clean them up, we'll oil them and lubricate them before we like pop them in the rest of the way, but in order to do that, you're gonna have to wipe the marks off and then they'll be lost, so they have to just one at a time, you know. It's not the fast way, it's just the Heathen's way. So when it comes to doing head gaskets, especially when you're adding boost, you should always make sure you get your block decked and your heads decked and get a really good quality gasket like a Kinetic or something like that that's made for the boost. We haven't done any of that, and we're using Velcro gasket. That's what I happen to have. But you know, I know it ran to 15 pounds of boost last time and it was fine, so it should be fine at 7 this time, we hope. How do we tell what direction is which? Like this or like this? How do you know? It's the same. I said, oh no, it's not okay. It has to go like this, or no, it has to go like this. Okay, so letter side goes down. Down with the blue, except on this side. Well, the good news is they only fit one way. I remember something about that. It doesn't matter. Everything's fine. There's no holes where there isn't holes, and the things line up, so everything must be fine. Grab a cylinder head. Yay! Here we go. Here we go. Right there. That wasn't so hard, was it? Oh, just fine. Number head 2. No, those aren't the right words in the right order. Oh yeah. It would appear it doesn't fit. See this? It doesn't fit between the springs. I gotta find a shallower, skinnier, less thick socket. I'll be back. Whoa, easy. And we're just going to go ahead and do this in 2 stages. It's not actually in the instructions to do it that way, but we're just going to go ahead and assume that that's better. That way we won't miss any, and we'll find out if there's a problem before it's all the way torqued. Now, if you're wondering about the pattern, hey, you should look that up. I think it's important. I'm going off of memory, which might not be right, but I think it'll be close, you know? You can't prevent mechanical failure all the time, but a guy can make an effort. Alright, cylinder heads are bolted on and tight. Next thing we're going to do is clean and re-inspect these lifters one more time. Lube them up, put them in the right holes, make sure everything moves nice. Now, I actually do have a full brand new set of lifters, and a guy could use them and replace them all. But the thing is, we know that these ones didn't fail. And the way lifters are going these days, I would rather put in one that I know was good than a new one. Because they're not the same as they once were. Let's put it that way. A little dab of lubrication on there. Sure it rolls around nice. Goes back into the same hole it came out of. Now we do the next one. Alright. Lifters are all in. Heads are on. I think it's time to put some valve train on. I don't know what to tell you about this part. You put the things back in, you know? There isn't much to say here. You should do it with clean hands though. Filthy ones like I'm doing it with. Well, it's because this valve cover's dirty. Well, I shouldn't have done that. Alright, all the push rods are in their little homes. The next part is the rocker shaft. Now, I don't remember which way is right, so you better look that up if you're doing this. Just know that this little slot right here, that's important and it means something. If I remembered what it meant, I would tell you. Meanwhile, off camera, I'm going to look it up. Hold on. Everybody stop. Just wait. If you're building your small block and like step by step following along, good Lord, I hope nobody is. But if you are, gotta pay attention to your head bolt. Sometimes, and not all the time, nor do I know how to tell what times, but sometimes, even on a small block Dodge, they'll go into a water jacket, and you gotta put some sealant on that head bolt, because it'll all go horribly wrong if you don't. Now this one, I'm pretty sure they don't, but I definitely did just pull them all out and dope them and put them back in because I forgot earlier. Now I'm pretty sure I didn't have to because I think I've checked this one before, but we're relying on a memory that's pretty poor at best, and it's been a while, so just know that that could be a thing. I think it's only a thing on 318s, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know who knows that, but just pay attention to what you're doing is what I'm trying to say. Make sure that it goes into a blind hole when you put the head bolt in and not into a water jacket. Okay, now that that's sorted out, gonna put our oil pump drive gear in. Now I'll bring it up nice and close. It's got a slot in it, see there? When we're done, if we're at top dead center, we'd like that slot to sort of point at number 1. That doesn't have to. You can point it any which way you want, and as long as you put your wires on in the right order, it'll work. But, you know, if you want to be nice to the next guy, you'll try and make it point towards number 1. One more back. No, one back. What we do is we just slide her in there like that. Whoops, and then you just carelessly drop it. Now, what you should feel is it engage into the oil pump, and then it'll turn slightly towards the camshaft, and it'll drop down all the way. That's not quite happening. It's not in. Oh, there we go. Yeah, if it doesn't go, just push harder. Now, right now, that thing is sort of, the slot's like right there. We can work with that. We know. It's there. It's right there. Towards number 1. Now see the slot? Come on, focus in the right place there. See the slot? Now if we follow that slot like it's going there, sure. That's kind of like number 1, I think. Let's talk about intake manifolds for a second. Now, this one comes with these cork gaskets. And I've used these cork gaskets lots of times. And they work good because unlike on a Chev, there's a hole for a dowel pin. Front and back. There's a little hole right here. I'll show you. See? There's a hole for a dowel pin. And then on the gasket, there's a hole. And that works great. Except the problem is if you don't have a dowel pin in that hole, these don't work great. Then it becomes just like a little Chevy small block. And you may as well throw these away. Which is what we're going to do this time because, well, we don't have the dowels. And, you know, we can build a wall of silicone. That always seems to work. And it looks great and it's easy to clean. Love cleaning silicone. Build a wall of silicone. It's a good thing ultra copper doesn't dry very fast. Sure is a pain in the neck to apply. Nice thick bead. That's a good idea. Get a little smear around the water jacket too to make sure that it makes a mess. If it just had the dowels or they came up with a little bit better system. Well, I guess they did, you know, because eventually this engine style stopped happening. You know, small block Chevys went away and small block Mopars went away and they got replaced by Hemis and LSs. And, you know, suddenly that problem was gone. In the meantime, we still have the problem, so make sure you force it right into the corners there. Really get after it. You don't want to leak. Boy, a silicone gun sure would be easier than this lousy tube. Make sure you get the corners good, because that's where it'll leak. Sure it's tall enough of a wall. Alright, see if we can't plop an intake manifold on there. Now the nice thing about this engine being out when we do this is we can see it. And we can see it looks like the silicone squished all the way around. My little eye, I think it's fine. Now we've also elected to put this dual plane back on. And the reason we've decided to put the dual plane back on is because then I don't have to modify any of the throttle linkage or anything. And that'll be easier. And that's basically as much as I've put into it. If I have my way, one of these days, sometime after it's together, we'll go to the racetrack with a single plane and a dual plane and we'll do some back-to-back testing. But I don't know if that's really going to happen. So for the meantime, we're going to put the dual plane back on because we know it worked okay. And that's good enough. If you don't already know, intake manifold bolts, some of them go into oil gallery. If you don't put thread sealant on the bolts, you'll just get a little pool of oil everywhere. So I guess you got to do that. Now I really wish we had the dowels. That would be better, but we don't. So you can't have everything all the time. We're making progress now that the intake's on. I guess that's time for a timing cover. That's what this is. Now we flashed a new seal in here already, so that's good. Now what we're going to do is put a little bit of this. Oh. Well, it's right full, but maybe we won't do that. Oh, that's a shame. So I guess what we won't do is put any high tack on it. We had a backup can, happily. So we'll just squirt a little bit of it on there. And then we let that set up for a minute, and then we'll stick our gasket over it, and that'll just sort of glue it in place. I think I need 2 hands. Now we do the same thing with the water pump. Seems like it sticks better if you hit both surfaces, so we'll hit both surfaces. And we'll hang that off of there and set it on top of there, and it can all just, you know, get stuck. Alright, now we put on the timing cover and all our little boltsies, and we'll just lay them here in the dirt. That's good. Now, I've always considered this about the most annoying job that can be done on a Dodge small block, because first the gasket wants to fall off, and then you can put in only like half the bolts because the other half have to go through the water pump. It's all quite a thing. Oh, these ones are longer because they had a bracket on there before. I'm not putting it back on. Okay, we gotta swap some bolts. So we do all these up, they're tightish, then we go get the water pump. We hope that all our holes are still lined up. Some of these will eventually have to come back out because I think there's some brackets that hang off of this. But that is a future Heathen problem. We'll let future Heathen deal with. See, another problem that I don't know if I knew about, but it's a problem for sure. See this bolt? It's touching right here. That's not going to work. We're going to have to pull the washer and get it a little closer to flush. Now, I really like washers, don't get me wrong. But this won't hurt my feelings at all, because if you ever pulled a factory one of these apart, you'll see that, I don't know, Block Mopar, like, they believed in washers maybe 1 in every 8 bolts or so, I'd say. If you were to average, the whole works out. This would be one of the places that probably had one, being it's aluminum, but, you know, we'll let that be fine. We're going to pretend everything's okay. That glue did not hold well. Alright, that's like installed. Look at that, eh? It's coming along. The engine is coming along. I need to go get a cup of coffee and we'll be right back with these messages. Luna, what do you got there? What is that? Is that a copy of Cruise Culture magazine? Oh man! Lucky! Elvis, what's this? Hey Elvis, what's this about? This... Man, these are high quality papers, eh buddy? What do you think, Luna? Do you like the big Cadillac? Luna? Hey, pay attention. Oh, you're interested, okay. Oh, don't step on it, Elvis. Don't forget to get your copy of this month's Cruise Culture magazine, available at cruiseculturesomething.com. Don't forget to order your October issue of Cruise Culture magazine, featuring an article by me from Miles of Mayhem, which I'm pretty excited about and I want everybody to read. Okay, we're on the oil pan now, and once we have the oil pan on, it's like we're really close. Now, those of you who've worked with stamped steel before will be familiar with what I'm about to show you. And those of you who've worked on modern engines might not be. But what happens is, do you see how this comes up right there? Every hole does that, because when you squish it, it's rigider here than it is there, and it flexes up. Now we have to fix that, and it's a little bit complicated. Some special techniques are used. Now watch this. This is a complicated procedure. See? That's like fixed. Now the other thing is, we got a bit of a rubbing issue right here, and we're going to fix that with a similar method. Better to hit it lots of times light than one big time heavy. It bends nicer that way. How about that, eh? Interestingly enough, that same technique is employed in other places, though it's wise to switch to one of these rubbery kind of mallets for some of them. Now you just have to do it far enough that you can get lots of thread engagement. Then you can just sucker home with the big old bolt. But don't do that on a Chevrolet, because they've got a little bolt and it won't go the same way that it's going to go on this. That's the harmonic balancer on. Now we're going to shoot a bit of primer at this while it's this side up, and then we'll flip it over and we'll put the pan on and we'll shoot a little primer at that. Then we're going to run to the store and get some paint, because that's what we need to do. Now when you go to paint an engine, don't worry too much about all the loose flake paints. Engine paint doesn't last more than one overheat anyways, and if you're like me, you'll overheat it the first time you run it. Then all the paint will be ruined anyways, so, you know, don't worry too much about doing a good job. Unless you're the type who doesn't overheat stuff or wants it to look nice or, you know, generally takes care of their stuff. just paint it gray. It kind of looks good in gray. Oh yeah, that hole there should have filled that one. Definitely shouldn't have just painted in there. Probably should have filled that one too, come to think of it. We have returned, put a little food in our gut, and I have some fresh paint and primer. Now the primer isn't the same as the stuff I was using. It's also not engine paint, but it does say it restores and protects metal. Restores metal. It restores it. I'm not painting over problems. I'm restoring it with this paint. And the quality is guaranteed. Also, it was on sale, so I'm sure it'll be great. We gotta fix this before we put it in too. Now, if you've been watching the show for a while, you'll know that I always record when I'm turning engines over. And that's because one day I'm going to tip an engine off its stand or something bad's going to go wrong. And I want to make sure I get to see it. Hopefully that's not today. I like this engine. Now, for this next part, like, you should really find somebody who knows what they're doing that can help you with this, because it never goes well, at least not for me. Maybe someone who's good at it can do it properly, but I'll show you where I have trouble, and then you can watch me struggle. Problem number one is right here. So this, it doesn't fit in tight until you get the pan on it pushing down on it. And even then, it just seems like, why is it loosey-goosey? It's all the way down. And then you smear silicone all over because the corners won't seal properly. You'll have the same problem up here, plus you've got to worry about this edge. Now in this case, the gasket's sticking up, so I'm going to have to cut that down. It's the same problem on the other side. And you got to smear gasket, like sealer, silicone, whatever, all over this, because otherwise your pan gasket is like, it's got, this won't seal here, is what I'm trying to tell you. Then you've got this disaster of a seal ID, which has, see the little, come on now, focus. Come on, think about it. Over here now. Then you've got this little disaster of a seal, which has these little whatevers on them. They go through a hole on the oil pan right there, see? But these either won't pull through, or you'll break them off pulling them through, or they get in the way of the bolts. One of those things always happens. It's just an old idea that was kind of a miss. That's all there is to it. But we'll try and put it in, and then we'll fight with it afterwards. Usually what I end up doing is siliconing it, like here where the angle is. You end up siliconing that because, like, well, that's not going to seal on a 90 degree. Then it gets so slippery, even if you do get the little thing pulled through, it pops back. Smear the silicone all over here, taper it back, get a big gob in the corner, because 90-degree corners don't seal. Never should have been invented. That much. Like, I like looking at old engines a lot better than new engines, but yeah, new ones leak a lot less, and there's good reason. It's gonna leak anyways. Why does this fit like garbage? Be the other one? Have I made a mistake? It's supposed to be over here? Oh, that doesn't fit. This way? Yep. Well, that won't help. If you put it on wrong, then it's even less likely to seal. And it's not got, like, good odds as it is, but if you do it wrong, it's got really not good odds. Now, the good news is, this one was also, you know, like that in the box. So that's helpful. I'm sure that won't wreck my day at all. I may as well have just siliconed the whole thing, honestly. At this point in time, what difference does it make? Dollop on this corner, dollop there. Oh yeah, just make a disaster. Where's my oil pan? Oh, sorry. Let me show you the right side. This is installed already, see? And it's, like, that's just how it fits. It looks like trash, because it's trash. Oh yeah, my silicone tube now has a break in it, so it's spitting all over my thumb. Now, did I think far enough ahead to get all the bolts lined up? No. They're still dirty, sitting somewhere else. Don't even remember where. Now, it might seem like I'm just putting whatever bolts I feel like in a random order. And that's because that's what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the problem I was talking about. Now, I've covered everything in silicone, so that doesn't make it look better. But do you see the problem right there? I can't put this in straight because it's against the black rubber thing. Because it sticks out, you know, past the hole. And it's the same problem on the other side. So what you end up doing is trimming this off, taking the gamble that it doesn't pop back through as soon as you do that. Someday I should learn what digressing is, because I think that's what I'm doing, is digressing, but I don't know what it means well enough to really use that word. Well, we got them in. Wasn't pretty. We just sort of snipped the edge of the rubber off and then jammed the bolt in, and happily this time it, didn't pop back out yet. But don't worry, I don't have the bolts torqued yet, so there's still chances. Now you might ask yourself, why are you torquing the oil pan? Because I don't want it to leak. That's why we torque the oil pan. Don't want it to leak. And we think it probably still will, even if we do torque it to spec. But we don't want anybody to be able to say, well, it's because you didn't torque it. And by anybody, I mean that self-loathing that happens. Alright, well that's one of the pesky frost plugs out. Too bad it wasn't the one you could see, but we had a little ball bounces sometimes. That's all these are, is they're just a rubber puck with two metal washers. You tighten up the nut and it squishes bigger. That's nothing to them. Except this one I can't get out. I have succeeded in making it worse, but not better. Well, you can't say it isn't in there. Problem is with hammering, like rubber and hammer, like that's like the one thing rubber is good at, is taking a beating. Well, it's not the only one thing, but hammering on rubber doesn't usually very effective. Maybe I should be less greedy. Take this little pointy pick and work my way around. Maybe that's all I'll need. That's what a guy should do. Just slowly break it free, a little bit at a time, instead of trying to take it all at once. Hey, maybe that's getting me somewhere. That might be getting me somewhere. Might have done something there, I don't know, we'll see. Wonder if I could find a bigger pair of pliers. Oh yeah, there's a good leverage spot. Come on now. Come on. Boy, that's really in there. Big pry bar. Come on, okay, slightly too big. Yeah, come up. Come on. I did not expect to spend an hour getting this frost plug out. Come on. This is why we're doing it before we paint it after. Come on now, we just need a little bit of compound action here. Folding and pulling at the same time. Eventually, it's gonna let go. Oh my goodness gracious. This is unbelievable. This has got to work, right? Well, something just happened there, but I don't think it was the thing I wanted to happen. Okay, we gotta be getting close to free here. Not acting like it. Goodness gracious. That really hurt. Come on, out you go. Yeah! We won! What a win. Alright, we've, made some headway there finally. Now I took a buffer wheel and I cleaned this out as best I could. It's not good. So, like, probably the best thing to do would be put another new one of these back in. That would probably be where the smart money would. But I don't have another new one. I've got steel ones. So I'm going to do the thing that I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do. Just, increase my odds a little bit here. I don't know if gray's the right color choice. I had gray or copper to choose from. Probably copper would have been better. Thump that in there. Oh, that fits just like flawlessly. Oh, easy. Not that far. Kind of looks like that one. I don't know. Hopefully it's good. I suppose if you silicone them in, they might not be frost plugs anymore. They're just plugs that are there forever. Oh well. Hopefully they're good and they don't seal. Or rather, they don't leak. Hopefully they seal. In case you hadn't noticed, it's gotten dark out. Guy's not getting smarter as he goes. It's time to fog this thing down with a little bit of paint and call it a night. First, some more primer. Alright, now there's a little bit of silicone on some things, but that's okay. We'll just paint over that. Look at that, eh? He's all in primer now. Now we'll give that 10 minutes or so to finish the restoration or, gas off or whatever you want to call it. And then we'll hit it with some paint color. I got a green truck with a blue engine bay. The engine will probably come out and go into something else since this is already project number 3. Where'd my can of paint go? Alright, here we go. Boy, better just do a quick little flashy coat here. It's spraying really weird. What is happening? What more can I tell you, folks? The engine's assembled and it's ready to go back in. That's probably it for this episode, I think. If it is the end, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.